Hello everyone, my name is JOURNE and this is Naya Says. This is Naya Says, where the physical meets the metaphysical and we take deep dives into real life. Alright, so I'm going to, in this video, explain to you all how my spiritual journey began and some tools that I found really useful when I first began my spiritual journey. So to give you a little bit of background, in 2018, I was in a really dark space. I just was like, this is not what I want my career to be. I've graduated college and not for nothing, I love the restaurant, put me onto so much stuff, but like, I was like, I'm not trying to be a bartender for the rest of my life. And all in all, I just felt stagnant. I wasn't happy. I was not sure how or why life was where it was for me. And I was introducing myself as a sad girl. Like, people would be like, hey, Naya, how you doing? And I would just be like, I'm sad, but how are you? Like, that's weird. And one day I saw a book that said meditation for busy skeptics and modern soul seekers. And I had never tried meditation before. And to be honest, I was just like, is that even gonna work? Is that even gonna do anything? Well, I read the book and then I tried it. And at that time I also had started trying yoga and I used to take the train to work. So I began to journal while I was on the train. And long story short, I kind of had like a renewed faith and a good little burst of energy. And so within that year, I had, worked on my relationship, worked on my friendships, gotten a couple promotions at work. And so life was a little bit better. I had also come across an ad for cosmetology. So I decided to go to hair school. And all in all, I was just like, yeah, this is decent. I'm busy again. Like, I'm occupied. If I don't plan on being a hairstylist all my life, but I got these hands and I'm gonna put them to work. Like, it's time for something new. And so I went a year working 4 days a week, in school 3 days a week from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I was also taking clients if I happened not to have a work day on those 4 days that I was available. So life was moving very quickly. If I did feel any kind of way, I didn't even have the time to notice it. And so after that hustle year, it was time for us to graduate. And that's when coronavirus shook the world, stopped the world, and we were put into quarantine. I was temporarily laid off, and instead of taking this as a time to sulk, I was honestly like, I could use the break. I was tired, I was exhausted. And so what I did with my time was I made the most of it. And that's how we're gonna get started into the journey of my spirituality. The first point that I need to make about the spiritual journey is getting to know yourself. And for me, how that began was through the Chakra System. So it began with a book that I had for about 5 years that I had never touched. And it was called The Complete Guide to the Chakras. And in it, it gave like detailed explanations of each chakra and how to connect with them, how to unblock them, tools to use for all of them. I learned how the chakras affect my life and life in general on all the different levels. So at the root, that's your security, your foundation. At the sacral chakra, this is I deserve in the energy to go get that. At the solar plexus chakra, this is the confidence in me to be who I am and to get all of those things that is for me in those bottom three. Then you go to the heart chakra and it's all connected. That is where you realize that it ain't just you in this thing, it's every other thing out here and the people and all of that, that is the connection, that is the love, that is the center point of your whole body system. This is the seat of the soul. Then in the throat chakra, this is your ability to express those things, to connect, to be heard, to express yourself, but also to be quiet and to listen to when other people are doing that. In the third eye chakra, this is a place of knowing and intuition and insight and faith in the things you can't see and seeing the things that you do believe. And then on the crown chakra, this is where your soul came into your body. That is your divinity. This is where your halo, the great divine, this is your connection. And so in learning all of those lessons, I wrote like basically an entire book on the chakras and how each level can help you out. But we can get into that for another video. And so that brings me into the next section. As I was discovering the chakras, when I got to the root, in it they talk about your foundation. And that's when I got into ancestry. Where do I come from? Who did I come from? What are some of the things that the people before me experienced? And so I went in a whole deep dive into my own ancestry. I got an account. I started looking that up. I started to ask questions of my elders. I was determined to connect with them. So what I did was I tried it. I set up an altar. I took some time to think about my intention in connecting with them. And then I just was quiet and I listened. And over time, little things would happen, like a little butterfly somewhere, or like I would be thinking a thought and then I would see like a little orb. When I was in the water, I would receive messages. Like I would just hear stuff in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, if not, then that's okay. But the point is that there was a time that I had no idea what that meant. But once I tried to make that connection, and after I had done some research and I could put some faces and some names into my tribe and the people who are supporting me from the other side, once I knew that that was real, it became a real foundation in my spirituality. It's almost like here on earth we disconnect, but when you reconnect with your ancestors, you know that there is something more and that they've been here and they're willing to help you get through the things that you need to get through in order to progress along your own journey, like in order to do the things that maybe they didn't get to do. And then also because you know that and you have their help, from the things that you see within your own family, you can start to help to clear out some of the energy for them. Like ancestral curses is essentially like what was done to your parents was probably done to their parents and up before. Like these traits, this generational karma, this generational struggle that is passed down, that is essentially what healing up your ancestral lineage is. And by connecting with them and by paying attention to what you see in real life, you get a chance to put some action to it by doing things differently yourself. By taking the initiative to do differently than they had. And by doing so, not only do you inspire your family members and connect with them, hopefully, but it's something that you pass down to your children and your nieces. So that way, this is not something that continues on. Not only was connecting with my ancestors something that was powerful for me because I got to know who they were and what their lives were like, at least like even if I didn't do the ancestral dig, with those little cues that I said I would get, and by paying attention to my own family, I got to see some things that needed healing by me being in control of my actions and my behaviors and how I interact with my family. In a way, I had a mission, you know, like we have things to work on, and it really made me want to, at the very least, reconnect with my family. There's a whole other side of my family I don't even know about, but the family that I do know and the connection that I have made to my ancestors, I'm pretty sure that even the ones I don't know by name, everybody just up there doing what they do. Because when I tell you, it is squad, like gang gang, like strong. I know that I'm being looked after. I know that I am protected. I know that I am guided, and I am appreciative. And honestly, I encourage you to make that connection yourself. I'm sure that the way that your ancestors will show up for you will be unique to your own journey and your own experience. But I've got to say that having that presence in my life is valuable, and I feel like it's a part of us that is worth being reconnected. Now I want to go into another tool that I use to help me with connecting with this journey, and that is meditation. I started it when I had told y'all that I read the book in 2018, but once things got going and once I started feeling better and I got back to work, I kind of was like, phew, like just threw it out the window. And when quarantine hit and I had the time again, I decided to try it. I knew the basics of it, and I knew that at the very least it could calm my mind. And so during the day, I would just be like, I'm gonna put a timer on and I'm just gonna sit still with my back straight and I'm gonna try to meditate. And so I did. And at first it wasn't that much that came to me, but then one day something did. And I remember I was in a cross-legged position with nothing to my back, and my back was straight. And at that time, I had not yet started working on my posture. So I was uncomfortable, and I was feeling uncomfortable, but the timer didn't go off. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna thug it out. And I heard in my head, get comfortable in the uncomfortable. Like, essentially, relax up into this thing, like relax, breathe. My timer still didn't go off, so I didn't say anything. But like once I was done, I was just like, oh, okay, this is how this thing works. All right. I did meditations to waken up my chakras, to open them up, to unblock them, to figure out in which way I could use the energy in that center to better a certain part of my life. And once I started to get more familiar with meditation, it wasn't so much about quieting the mind for me. It went in a sequence. What I would do is I would let my thoughts come. But instead of saying like, shut up thought, I would be like, bing, in my head, put a pin in it and slide it to the side. Like, let me get back to my breathing. And then as that happened and my thoughts that were on my mind from the day up until I started to meditate, I would just let those thoughts melt away. Once they were all quiet on their own, that's when I would be able to focus my mind on one thing at a time. And I learned how to observe my thoughts. And so that helped also with my connection with my ancestors. I would know what I was thinking at the moment, and then something would happen. And so that's how I knew it would be a sign like, pay attention to that thought, or, like it was a way for me to be able to see the things that weren't there. I was able to learn to concentrate, to focus my energy, and to focus my mind. And in real life, the life outside of my head, I feel like I was low-key an undiagnosed ADD person. Like, my attention span had always been this small. But as I started to meditate, I could hold my attention at one place for longer periods of time, and that became very helpful for me. In being able to observe my thoughts and see the signs and concentrate, I also was able to see the things that I no longer needed to carry along in my mind. Like when certain thoughts would arise, or I would think about a certain situation or a certain person or anything that was negative and not helping me, because I could now see that thought, instead of acting on it and let it control my emotions on the next level, I was able to let it go. If it's for you, it's for you. And if it isn't doing something for you that you would like it to do, let it go. Like, just let it go. You have time to focus on other things. And if you are focusing your attention on something that is not serving you, then technically it's you who is serving that thing by giving it your energy. So I was able to like realize some real stuff and to let some less real stuff go. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the mind-body connection. First of all, I did yoga, and in it I kind of relearned my will. You know, I did sports growing up almost my entire life, but when I did it, it was kind of no thought put into it. Like, I just knew how to move. But when I started to sync my mind with my body and take my time doing so with both things, I was able to see my body in a different way. Like, the body is so intelligent and it can help you out in so many different ways. I started to recognize when I would say or do certain things, like I would get a twitch here or an itch there. If I had heard something or said something that was true, I would get an itch on the nose, like right on the nose, or like, no, seriously. Or if I had heard something that was something to support my divine feminine or the dark side, I would get a twitch on my left side of my body, or something that I knew I should take action to in my divine masculinity. My right leg would twitch, like, take action, you know? And so it was really interesting to be able to see my body not only change physically because of the work that I was putting into it, but also to see it as an intelligent being. Let's just say that the body is like Tesla times 3,000. Like, the thing is intelligent, okay? Your body be knowing what to do without you even having to do it. So you best believe that it pays attention to what's going on around you. It knows the thoughts that are happening, and it will support you if you support it. I had to change a bit of the things that I was doing, the way that I thought about my body. Like, I've always been small, and I just was like, I didn't like my body. I was being very mean to myself. And also in that, I noticed that I wasn't eating things that fed my body, that nourished my body. If you're going through life, you're doing it with your body. It is truly your rider. Like, it's gonna take you through all of the journey and through all of the things that are meant for you along this thing we call life. Not only should it be honored, but it should also be respected, and you should take care of it physically and mentally. Speak well of yourself, feed yourself well, cleanse yourself inside and out. I guarantee you, your body is gonna show up for you in the best way every time. And it's gonna be visible too. Like, you're gonna be like, okay, skin glowing. Like, you weren't doing that last week when I felt pretty depressed, but it's just like, what were you telling yourself? Or what were you doing for yourself? Honor your body, get in tune with your body, because it's gonna take you places. And you wanna make sure that the wheels don't fall off. The next thing that helped me out on this journey is I began to question everything. Everything. I was not only doing deep dives on the YouTube, but I was looking into everything that I believed in. I started to research my own religion. I wanted to know how it started, where it started. I knew why I believed what I believed, but as a structure, I had to question it and the effect that it had on me. Not my beliefs, but why I believed them. Because I also had been getting signs of what to explore, I had faith that whichever way I went on my deep dive, however deep I decided to go, that it will be okay. Because at the end of the day, it was just research, right? If I am firm in my beliefs, then there's nothing that can shake them. So I did the research. And I saw some scary shit. And I started to question everything, but not me. The things that I had previously believed in. Why do I need someone or something else to do this for me? Isn't greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world? So I really started to look up where I put my belief and where I put my power, whether it be structures or ideologies. I had to really question them and do this for myself, because I knew that at the very least, I knew I was real, and I knew that God put me here for a reason. And so I was just like, so everything else, why are you here? It helped with other things that I was able to let go of, like things that I no longer wanted to serve, and structures that I no longer wanted to serve. And I'm very happy with that decision. I found a faith that is unshakable, that I am not afraid of. And I had to explore those things that would be scary, because on the other side of fear is usually something that is meant for you. The deeper I went, the more things started to make sense. And I still was being backed up by all my good God that I feel in my presence. And so I was just like, yeah, what's next? What else? And I got into symbolism, I got into numerology, I got into astrology, like all of these things that were taboo to me originally. Like, why? Once I figured out the meaning of them, essentially they're all the study of something. And if the stars in the sky rotate around us and they have an effect on us, and we don't know about it, that don't mean that they're not going to have an effect on us. So for me to learn about them was just another tool in my belt of me understanding. And that kind of locked in with the things that I would see on my third eye. Everything means something. And I had to believe that what I was reading and what I was researching was for a reason. And honestly, I was right. And it was right for me. That's what I think is very important. You should go as far as you're comfortable. If something makes you uncomfortable, question why. Figure it out. Like, why are you uncomfortable? And then that brought me back to when I would say, get comfortable in the uncomfortable. Breathe, get up into it. Like, explore what you don't know, because that's how you get knowledge of it and get comfortable with it, you know? Do the deep dive, and if you ever have any questions, just ask me. I can give you some insight in some of the things that I've come across. So that brings me to the last point. Have faith in all things on your journey. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The lessons, you know, like, your journey is meant for you. I always say everything I hear and see is meant to be, whether it's for you or me. And essentially that's like what is happening to you. If you believe in the law of attraction or manifestation or things being for you, that means that everything that you do has a reaction. Everything that is for you to experience. And it's part of the journey for you to get through these things, for you to understand these things, and for you, after doing all the research and using all the other tools, to put them into practice. Everything that you'll be working on, all of those things that you'll be trying to change from your present reality, it's going to cough up some stuff to happen. Let's just call those like the tests. And in that time, you want to be sure that you have that same faith, and that you know that you are steadfast in your beliefs, that you know that this is coming with the pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow, yeah? This is the time for you to step up into your faith and walk with your head held high, to take accountability for what comes, and then reap the benefits of being out of the delusion of the time when you didn't know before. And essentially, that's when you're going to start stepping into those blessings. And when I tell you that it comes threefold what you thought it would be, and the fact that you don't know how it goes, it ends up being that much more rewarding. What's in store for you is so much bigger and better than what you've imagined. So just remember that with change comes challenge. And it's time to get comfortable in the uncomfortable. Staying the same will leave you in the same place that you were when you started. And the whole point is to ascend, for things to be better, for you to realize your true power and what is really meant for you, to step up in it. And that's going to take some work, but here's to the work put in paying off. I wish you the best during this. If you need any encouragement, feel free to hit me up. Feel free to join a group or find a friend who is also going through the same thing as you. Remember, you are not alone, although this path is one that you take by yourself. Stay encouraged and stay up. I love you. Thank you. Peace. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you the next time.